What's up, guys? Welcome to the Withered Army boss guide, where hopefully I can kind of guide you through some of these bosses, and we will jump right in. Starting from the get-go, this isn't really like a boss as you would think, like a giant guy that you've got to deal with. This is the room that requires 2 berserkers to open, but it's more of a boss room, okay? So when you come down here, you're going to be dealing with a lot of the volatile wraiths. And that's basically what the room is. It's a bunch of these wraiths, and I think it's a good idea that they kind of put this as you needed 2 berserkers, because usually by the time you get 2 berserkers, you're probably going to have like your 20 withered running around for your army, and you're going to have a real good idea of how to do this. And it's pretty much everything in here is almost tethered just because of the size of your army. They're kind of pulling everything sporadically, and the best suggestion I could give you for this is pop everything. Make sure that you get your withered pop in their rage button, and just pop all CDs you can on these guys and get them down. If you're focusing and all that, you should be able to take these guys out before they explode. You shouldn't have any problems with it. 1 or 2 might get off. If you would feel more comfortable, you can always come back later when you've had more and take care of it then, but I usually just grab it right in the beginning. And this room usually rewards always a chest and always withered. I haven't had a time where there hasn't been a withered and a chest in here. Doesn't mean that it's always that way, just the times that I've been in here, I've been lucky enough to have both. So this one's just a medium chest, and 5 withered I'll get later on after I've completed the rest of the instance. So we are going to move on to the second boss, which takes 10 withered to open, and that is Leilia, the giant like centaur woman. She doesn't do anything too terribly bad if you can hold aggro with her. I believe she casts, I think it's called Dark Bolt, which you can interrupt every time. And then she puts a debuff on you, which puts a giant swirl underneath you. And it's really, really easy, guys, because all you need to do is get away from your withered army. Let it explode somewhere else, and then you can get right back on her. If you're ranged, you probably won't have any troubles with it anyway. And she is pretty much a tank and spank with this. Even as DPS, I've had a lot of people, especially casters, sit there and say that this boss really is a joke, and it's probably more for kind of warming up to give you an idea of the hit points that you're going to deal with. And same with her room. This time around I didn't get a chest in here, but there was 3 withered that I was able to grab, which, you know, obviously adds to your army, which you always want. But usually there's a chest sitting here too that you can grab, or, you know, come back later and get once you've cleared the rest of the dungeon. But so far we're 2 bosses in. They're both optional so far. We haven't ran into anything that you're absolutely going to run into, so we'll go ahead and we'll hit the next boss, which is the Brood Guardian Fix. Now he's also an optional boss, but I think he's probably one of the easiest bosses out there. Next to Leilia, this guy's got 2 abilities. He's got Cleaving Claws, which make sure, you know, I'm pretty sure you can interrupt them every time depending on what your cooldowns are. And then he's got Brood Expansion, which basically he shoots a bunch of, you know, or she, I should say, shoots a bunch of spiders everywhere, as you can see right here. Just AoE them down. It's not a big deal. Again, have your withered just sit there and hit that rage button and burn her down. That rage button is your friend. From time to time I will sit there and I'll turn it off and then turn it back on. I've just had this bad luck of leaving it on too long, and then some of them like get scared for whatever reason. But this guy, I haven't really ran anything amazing in his room. Usually it's always 2 captives, 1 on each side. Sometimes you can get lucky with the guys that are wrapped up, and you can get, you know, closer to 4 or 5 in one room. It really just depends on the RNG and if it's on your side when you go into this part of it. Next, we are going to get into the first boss that you are going to have to face. A lot of people hate him. He's a pain in the ass, and that is Stalker Dro. Now, the tip that I can give you with this guy, aside from hitting like a fucking truck, which he does, he also cleaves, which sucks when he gets on your guys. And as he spawns, I've had it every time when he spawns, he always does this charge, which usually, you know, either comes really close to killing your withered or at least kills 2 or 3. So to kind of get him to stop that charge, gather him up, and I try to get my withered the best I can to do a crescent moon around him, but he doesn't charge. I've noticed he doesn't charge if you just stay on top of him with your withered. So kind of position him the best you can. If you're a caster, it's just going to be one of those things that you got to kind of figure out, maybe pop some defensives. But this is probably going to be the biggest obstacle in your way when you're doing this boss. And he does give you the drug key to open up some doors, or it might just be one door, but it opens up other doors to get more withered. So I would say definitely just burn him down as quick as you can. There'll be other withered out there. You know, every single life is precious, but sometimes you've got to lose some to gain some, and hopefully it is more gaining than it is losing. Now, I put this boss in here. It's more of a mini boss because it doesn't do a lot, but it is a good room to make sure that you don't overlook, and that is the Falor devourer, who is the big guy in the middle. Now, if you pull this person right here, I believe she grabs everything in the room as far as the bigger minions, not just herself. So I think they're all tethered together, but she's really just burn her down. Like I said, she's easy, and it's a good room to pick up some extra withered for pretty much, you know, not having to do anything at all. It really was an easy room to do. And then next we are going to get into kind of a bigger room, and that is the Volatile Wraith Lord. Now, this room is very tricky, usually because I only go in here if one, there's withered in there and a chest. If I don't see anything in the room, I don't even bother with it. But the reason why I say this one is so tricky is because, as you can see, he sits right in the middle, and then you've got all these elites around him. And if you're not careful on how you pull, you're going to end up pulling him, and then depending on how your withered kind of run, he's going to end up pulling the rest of the room, which as a tank, not too big of a deal, definitely more annoying, but as a DPS, you know, it would be very shitty to wipe on this boss. So you do got to kind of be careful on how you're going to pull this guy, kind of come up with a plan of how you're going to go around the room to get these guys. And then usually what you can do is, and I don't know if they fix it, but you can put your guys outside on the rage, run inside, tag one of these guys, bring them back outside, you know, and then do it like that. On this one, I ended up going around the room. I was just trying to kind of stick on around the room, and one of my guys actually got feared, and that's what ended up pulling, or I'm sorry, I ended up pulling the boss just because I got too close. And then you'll see here in a minute, one of my guys got feared during the fight and ended up pulling the elites in the back room, which kind of made it a little more annoying. This guy doesn't have any special abilities. He's just like the other wraiths. Hits a little bit harder, and obviously that explosion is going to do a lot more if you don't burn him down. You probably wouldn't go into this room anyway unless you had an army with you. You know, don't come in here with 4 guys thinking you're going to take on the whole room, because you're probably going to end up losing everybody. So just be careful with that. And then, of course, you know, like I said, make sure it's worth your while to come in here unless you're just kind of dicking around. And then we are going to move on to this next boss that I've got to say, guys, has been honestly probably one of the hardest bosses that you're going to come up against. And it's going to be one of those things that it's just, you're going to have to pop cooldowns, and all I can say is burn, because this next guy is going to sit here and he is going to crush your dudes if you do not kill him. And it's just, it's really annoying because you've only got a little bit more to go before you get to the end of the dungeon, and you're almost there. So just really pay attention to your positioning on the withered, and I'll explain. And that, of course, is Furog, the Elf Breaker. Now, what makes this guy super annoying is, aside from the endless spiders coming from the next boss, this dude's got 2 abilities, and I haven't figured out a way I don't know if he can be stunned, if he can't be stunned. I've tried to fear, it obviously doesn't work being an elite and all that. But what he does is he does an ability called Grab Withered, where he literally picks up a Withered and just crushes him, and crushes him, and crushes him. And I'm pretty sure it's one of those you lose him regardless. That's an annoying ability. Of course there's a counter to it, and that's putting your guys on rage and pulling this boss away from him and making it so he's actually got to run towards your Wither to grab him. As you can see, he's about to grab one of my guys right here, and he's just like, fuck you, man, like, I'm over it. But more importantly, the other ability he does is Stomp. And if you are standing in the middle of, you know, all your Withered right here, you're probably going to lose some guys, or you're at least going to get some damage put on them. So make sure you really just burn this guy down, and then you're going to have to deal with these spiders. So usually it's best to grab what you can around the room, and then you've got to make your way up these stairs. These spiders have like 600k health. They're annoying. I've had plenty of DPS, you know, whisper me being like, fuck this room. And I agree, it can be very annoying. It's an easy way to lose a lot of your guys if you're not paying attention. And it's more of a marathon. So coming up to the final boss is Silc, and she, I'm going to assume it's a she, sends these endless spiders in this room. As you can see, they're all right here. One of my guys got feared. I'm sorry, I got too far away and it was giving me the warning and all that. But you know, these guys are going to fight for you every single time you get attacked and all that, so that's what makes it annoying. It's your call if you want to try to pick these guys up. Depending on the number that you have, it may just be easier to get up to the boss. She stops spawning them as soon as you tag her, and I think that's the easier way to go. Her herself is not bad. She does an ability called Web Blast, which just puts webs on the ground, and you know, it does like poison damage if you're standing in it. And it's not even really that you've got to be worried about saying it, it's where your Withered are going to stand in it, because you can lose a lot of guys if you're not paying attention to the position with them. Usually what I try to do is bring them back a little bit. One of my guys got feared, so I was more worried about that. But as long as you can just keep them out of the web blast, usually it's in front just like that, you don't have much to worry about. But she can be a pain in the ass just as far as that little gauntlet run. I would almost say it's more the spiders than it is her. But that is every single boss in here, guys. I mean, you did it. You completed it all. I know it seems a lot longer, and you know, if you want to try going tank spec, I would definitely suggest it. If you need help as a DPS, like I said, I've got plenty of DPS friends who have given me tips on how they've done it in case anybody's asked. So feel free to drop a comment down below. Other than that, guys, this is the boss guide for the army training. It's just one of those things that it may take a little bit to get and try to kind of figure out. A little bit is RNG, depending on if a boss uses an ability, how quick you can obviously down them and all that. So, but hopefully this is giving you some insight, maybe a plan as to how you're going to take care of each boss. Like you said, you don't even have to do the optional bosses. I think it's just Stalker, Furog technically you don't have to do if you can get your guys around them, and then the big chick, the big spider. So other than that, congratulations guys, you have completed the training unless they add more, and now you can go around the dungeon and get all your fat loot and see what all you've accomplished and what all you can get out of it. Here's one of the screenshots from one of my runs that I got. It was like 7 chests and all that. Really good. So drop a like if it's helped you. If you have any questions, comments, concerns, leave it down below. And until next time, guys, my name is Tomkins, and I will see you later.